Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is out, sequel to the 2023 horror movie based on a massively successful video game franchise. Emma Tammy returning as director, Josh Hutcherson returning in the lead role. Story continues with Mike and his sister still recovering from the traumatic events of the first movie. Then it turns out there's another location of the creepy restaurant, the original one, which contains another set of animatronics, plus a new one, the marionette who controls the others and has sinister motives. Blah, blah, blah. Evil robots need to survive them. So I hated the first film. I thought it was a messy failure, boring, uneventful, uninteresting, and I promised myself I would not be back for sequels. Well, somehow here I am anyway. The second one is still bad. I would say a smidgen better than the original because there's at least something fun going on for about 10 minutes or so, but otherwise it's still pretty shit. The good stuff that I'm talking about is a sequence in the third act where one character has to stay in the control room of the restaurant and survive while tracking animatronics through a computer, animatronics that got out, and he's sort of feeding the info to another character who is out in town chasing these down. This is the one moment I thought, oh, okay, this could be fun, and it also sort of plays out into video game mechanics, but then it's very short and doesn't really live up to its potential. Otherwise, it's still a weird, undecided mess that cannot make up its mind about what it wants to be, you know? If it wants to be a slasher that has almost no kills, a creepy horror that isn't actually creepy or scary, a dark comedy that isn't funny, or a drama about childhood trauma that isn't deep. It is also an example of what not to do in terms of story structure. About, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes in, there's this. We suddenly switch to a new group of characters, okay? There's this camera crew coming to town to investigate the old location on the behest of a new security guard. But we're not really told explicitly ahead of time that this is a separate location from the one in the first film, so it's a bit confusing. And then we're not also introduced to the security guy before, and he just sort of shows up. He is weird, and then he disappears from the movie until he shows up again at the very end and reveals he's secretly the brother of one of the main characters. And at that point, I was like, okay, one, this is silly, and two, I don't really care all that much. Plus, it leads to an ending that is just awful and mean. I mean, Mike and his sister behave like two dickheads just for the sake of setting another character up on the path to villainy and I guess setting up the next movie. I will say that once again, I enjoyed the animatronics that are practical, much like in the first film, and not CG. They're built by the Jim Henson Company. They look and feel great. Wish there was more of them killing people and people fighting them instead of whatever this is. Conclusion, there is an improvement, but it's microscopic. And my recommendation is still to stay away.